Sung-jin, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about webtoons.
That is indeed correct.
Today you have something similar.
Right, something similar along the lines of literature work. But before, I want to ask you guys, are you guys into history books?
History books. I'm really interested in history, but I'm not a big fan of those thick history books. That's why I love to watch those fun lectures that make history a little bit more interesting and fun.
History has been always, difficult for me, but I do enjoy watching, TV programs related to history or comic books. I used to read them when I was little.
Same. Now, I also enjoy reading history comic books because I feel like they're a little bit more easy to actually understand the history itself. That's why this time I had the chance to actually talk to a history comic book artist, but with a slight twist. So let's have a look at it together. History comics aren't entirely new, but what can be astonishing is comics about history from a complete foreigner. Onrie Kompan is an American comic book writer who has been creating comics on Admiral Yi Sun-sin, one of South Korea's greatest naval leaders, for nearly 20 years. What inspired him to create these was the drama Immortal Admiral Yi Sun-sin back in 2004.
I see Yi Sun-sin as a worldwide hero, and I want the world to embrace him that way. And, I want Korean people to be proud of that. I wanted to keep it as real and grounded as possible. So there's no fantasy, there's no magic, there's none of that. Everything is based on what actually happened and based in facts.
When he first started his series nearly 20 years ago, K-pop or Korean food was still unheard of for most of those abroad.
I didn't have any doubts, but everyone around me did. I was traveling to Korea and doing all this research and really investing all of myself into this. Especially in the first few years, it was very challenging.
The trilogy is divided into battles Admiral Yi Sun-sin participated in, starting from the Battle of Hansan Island to the Battle of Myeongnyang and ending with the Battle of Noryang. He said he's working on the last 2 issues of the series. The comics artist has gone to more than 100 comics conventions in the US and sold 250,000 copies.
And one of the things that has been really gratifying for me is that I've seen a lot of that happen. There have been feature films made based on Yi Sun-sin that was inspired by our work, documentaries, YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff. And it's really wonderful. I'm really happy that we have kind of gotten this ball rolling.
Though he's come so far in his accomplishments, he wants to branch out more and sell more than 1 million copies. He also wants to reach out to Korean audiences to make sure that the Korean people take pride in their history. But it's not only that.
And there's still much work to do with everything, because my goal, of course, is to make Admiral Yi a worldwide recognized hero.
With efforts from Onrie and his creative team of artists and editors, comics can further come into the light and raise awareness of Korean history as well.
This is so different from simply translating Korean comic history books into another language.
Absolutely.
And for those who want to have a closer look at the artist's work, where can they find it?
Great question. Now, for our viewers that might be interested in further finding his work, whether it be physical or digital copies, you can actually find it in his own website that you can see in our bottom of the subtitles. Now, for any of our viewers who are in Seattle actually at the moment and would like to even have a chat with Onrie, the comic writer himself, he's currently attending the Emerald City Comic Con, which is an annual comic book convention, and it runs until this Sunday. So if you're interested and in the area, which we are unfortunately not, please, for our viewers, go and have a look.
But for Seattle comic book fans, definitely keep that in mind. And for just comic book fans in general, where can they go to learn more about these Korean comic books?
Right, so for those that want to take a closer look at perhaps the timeline of the Korean comic history, you can check out the Korea Manhwa Museum in Bucheon City. It displays Korean comic books and various pieces both from the past and present that give a good overview of the history of Korean comics.
I think I've been there before for a coverage, but I guess nowadays they have even more expanded content to indulge in. I saw that they have not only comics but performances like musicals happening, and the animated film Twemarok in Korean, or in English Exorcism Chronicles The Beginning, which we actually also introduced here on the Culture Wave, is running at that specific museum beginning tomorrow.
Right, we won't be able to go to the one in the Seattle, but we'll be able to go to this one. So
Bucheon,
yes, I'll definitely check it out later in the time. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Sung-jin, for that report. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me, guys.